Hey guys, just finished watching Doom Patrol, Season 1, Episode 6, Doom Patrol Patrol. um, what an interesting episode. So we start off this episode in 1956 with Rita Farr, and she ends up killing one of her own producers on the casting couch and stuff. And that was a really interesting scene and stuff, especially with her kind of not knowing what to do, and then his assistant comes in and is like, "You were never here," and all that stuff. So that was really interesting with that. We later see it kind of come back to her and haunt her, which is with Memento instead of Memento. And I think that was really interesting. I think it was really, really cool seeing that scene. It was really fun. We see Jane, or one of the personalities. We don't really know who. Or assuming it's Jane, watching the video recordings of Baby Doll interacting with, being interviewed by Chief and stuff. And I think that was kind of cool seeing that. And nobody asked Jane to find the Doom Patrol, so I think that was kind of interesting, the original Doom Patrol. We also learned in this episode that Animal Vegetable Man tried to rob a place, and the dinosaur part of him attacks him, and he ended up in jail now, so I think that could be interesting. Especially since in the comic books, at least in the comics, we had that original cover where he was huge. He was able to pick up the Doom Patrol in his hands if they're action figure size to him. So I think that could be something interesting at some point in this. I could see at some point in this by the end of the season or the last episode, nobody just kind of shoots him and makes him grow big, kind of like Power Rangers moment. I think that could be a really interesting thing. It could be really fun to see, and I definitely can't wait to see where things kind of go with Animal Vegetable Man. I mean, they didn't set him up for no reason, right? And they're not reminding us again in this episode that he exists for no reason, which I don't know. If they had planned on using him at the end of this episode, at the end of the season, I would have not have him in this episode and just kind of let us forget about where he is, and then bring it, because you set him up so early on in the show, and then when he comes back, it's way more, especially since they're doing weekly episodes, it's way more, oh my god, I forgot about him type thing when it comes back. Now that they've kind of done the whole, oh, he was here, they revealed him like early on, and then reminded us about him, and then it's like, well, clearly he's going to come back at some point, maybe the end of the last episode or something like that. But I think if they had not done this reminder of him type thing, which is pretty much what it is, then it would have been much more impactful, like, oh crap, I forgot about him, moment when he does come back at the end. But now it's kind of like, yeah, they teased it, they kind of reminded us about the character, they didn't let us forget about him. So we'll have to wait and see as to where things go with him. Hopefully they do something really kind of surprising and shocking with him or something. That could be really cool, and to see as to where things go with that character. So we see Memento has the whole Doom Patrol, the original Doom Patrol, in some sort of kind of fantasy and stuff, since they're all kind of older and they're kind of all destroyed and stuff from the last time they fought Nobody and stuff, when they first met him, and he kind of destroyed them all. So I think that was really interesting. We also have Cyborg kind of going through his whole storyline, and Cliff, they kind of stay back, and he gets kind of reprogrammed by his father, because he was in kind of safe mode after his arm blew up, and Cliff Steele pressed a button there to call his father and stuff. So his father kind of resets him and has him no longer, watching him. At least that's what he says. But then we just steal like a little USB file from him, and he ends up at the end of the episode. We end it with him kind of hacking into himself type thing. So that could be interesting to see if his father is just kind of really still watching him, or if he really did let him turn on privacy mode and is not actually watching, right? So I think that could be interesting to see as to where things go with that. And I'm glad that they didn't have him, they fixed him up right away. They didn't have him kind of like, oh no, he lost his arm cannon, now he has no more powers, he can only, punch strong and stuff, and they don't have the CGI and arm cannon. So I'm glad that they've kind of reset him, and now he's back to normal, and he's not kind of depowered or kind of, has a hand tied behind his back for the last big fight of the season, right? That would be kind of annoying. But so I think that's kind of interesting there, to see other characters at kind of full power for the end was really going to be fun. We see Cyborg ends up creating a fake Facebook profile so Cliff can look at his daughter, and that's what he sees, that his daughter has a new dad, which I think is interesting. I mean, I imagine she must have been put into foster care and stuff like that, so I don't understand why he's kind of freaking out. And maybe he's, he didn't expect that, he didn't, whatever, but she must have been in a foster care. She was really young when her parents both died in a car crash, right? So she was like 5 years old. Of course she'd end up, in a foster care. So I think that would be interesting to see as to where things kind of go with that. Maybe later, maybe Cyborg kind of looks into it more with him, and they show that she might have like an old, maybe I think it'd be interesting to see him kind of dig through more into her profile and seeing that, some of his old trophies or old memorabilia from her original father, whether or not she has memories of Cliff Steele is going to be something interesting to find out, because if she's like 5 years old, it'd be kind of very little memories, other than the fact that people, that it would be known that she would almost be somewhat of a celebrity, because her father he was winning all the time and all that stuff. It's a tragic story that would resonate throughout so much that would have been all over the news at the time back in the day. So I think that could be something interesting to kind of play with, and to seeing as to how much does she know of him, and how much she doesn't, whenever they do meet, if they do meet at this season, which looks like what they're setting it up, but maybe they're setting up to meet, and then kind of, I'd like to see them kind of, maybe they meet and then they don't say anything, we don't see how things go until the next season. That could be something cool. They end with some sort of cliffhanger like that. Could be quite fun. So I definitely can't wait to see as to where things go with that, especially since she would not have much memory of her father, of Cliff Steele. She would have most of her memories would be what she's read of him. If she's read her biography or something like that, or even a Lifetime movie, if they ever made a movie or something like that about his life, because it's a great tragic story, right? That would make a great movie, race car driver on the top of his game, and then everything kind of just crumbles upon, and all of a sudden everyone dies in a car crash. Like, that sounds like a great, movie type thing. So I think that could be something interesting to see him meet his daughter, and then her memories of him, is not really her memories, it's just the public's memories of him, right? So I think that could be something interesting for them to see as to when they ever meet later on. So all in all, I can't wait to see as to where things kind of go with all this. It's really going to be fun to see as to where things go, and it looks like in the trailer for the next episode, they start teasing Cyborg, saying his catchphrase, "Booyah." So I think that could be really fun to see that. Maybe nobody straight up asked him, "Hey, why haven't you said your catchphrase yet?" Since he breaks the fourth wall and all that. I think it'd be really fun to see that. And I think Cyborg, his look is starting to grow on me. And I'm about to say at the end of this season, I would probably say that this Cyborg is better than the Cyborg on Justice League and stuff, because there's some CGI in Justice League where his legs look too skinny, whereas here he looks pretty much comic accurate. He looks very good. I think it's really interesting. Although he's not as big as he should be a little bit taller and stuff, but because he's supposed to be a big quarterback, whereas this guy doesn't look like he could really be a big quarterback or anything like that, but otherwise he looks pretty good here. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which should be my Shazam review tonight. So yeah, I'll see you guys for that. I'm going to go see that later on today. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Shazam.